just shut up and do this because, I want to keep good faith in the family. And being an actress wasn't very popular back then either.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to open a bank account in Dallas, Texas, and they wouldn't let me open a bank because I was an actress. And I went to that's right. I went to the president of the bank, and I said, I am a member of this community in good standing. I have a job over here at the Dallas Theater Center. I'd like to open it. No, we won't have your account here. Why not? But you're an actress. I said, okay. So many years, fade in, fade out. I came back from New York, and I went over to the same bank manager. And I said, my name is Maree Cheatham, and I'm on blah, blah show, and how do you do? Lovely to know you. And I said, many years ago, you wouldn't let me open a bank account here. And I said, I'd like to open one. And I said, aren't you sorry you didn't do that? And he said, no.
Oh
my God.
We are not so far away from actors and Irish people not allowed,
Oh, that's horrible. But I'm glad you called him out on it.
Oh, yeah.
Good for you.
It's just awful.
I would have opened the account and then taken my money out the next day. Nah.
Yeah. It's very strange. Very strange. And it's an interesting thing, for people who will treat you one way when you're, when you're not so well known, and then when you are well known, will want to treat you another way.
Right. I can't help but think of Pretty Woman, the movie.
Yeah.
Right
it's
there.
Yeah. But it's wonderful, and if you're lucky if you have a few friends that you've had, say for 30, 40 years, when you get older. I'm very lucky. I have very few of them, and the numbers are diminishing now, but I have had very few friends that have stayed in my life for a long, long time. But I think I've got more than most, because whenever it seems that whenever you get into my life, you have to pay to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say about idle hands. So as long as you keep working, and it helps with your memory too. And even if you're not an actress, they say to always read and do crossward puzzles and keep yourself busy and keep your mind working.
There's a great thing on the internet now. You can train your brain. They have puzzles and things that you can do to train your brain to be active. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you read a lot?
I do.
Great. I think that's very important.
I do, and it's funny because my dad used to always tell us, to read. I have a brother and a sister, and it was constantly on us, read a book, read a book, read a book, read a book. And as a kid, you don't want to hear that. You just got home from school. Who wants to read a book? How is that enjoyable? And then when I got into high school, I was a freshman, and one of my friends gave me a book, and she says, you have to read this. It's so good. And I looked at that book, and I remember it was probably close to 1,000 pages. And it was called Once in a Lifetime. Oh, my gosh, the author, Suzanne something. But they made it into a movie, because I eventually saw the movie, too. But I read that book. It took me a little while, but I read it. And from that day forward, I never stopped reading.
Oh, wonderful. I think it's just the best, I think it saved my life as a kid.
Yeah, and I tried to teach my kids the same thing. There was a couple of them that took it up, but the other two didn't. I have 4 kids, so 2 out of 4 ain't bad, I guess.
I remember reading about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and I was out in the country, living way out in the country near Lampasas, and when I finished the book, I was so sad because all of my friends were gone.
Oh, yeah.
I started it over. I couldn't stand it. I started over.
That's one thing that I can't do is reread a book.
No kidding.
Because I know what's happening, and I just can't reread it. So, even years later, you think, you probably forgot half of it. But years later, I'll pick up a book, and I'll start reading, and I'm like, I remember what happened.
Yeah, I know. You don't want to go back and...
And that's why I have a million books.
I'm very fond of English mysteries like Midsummer Murders and things of that nature. And I have such a mind like a sieve, I'll sometimes forget what happens. And when I watch it, it's like forgotten who killed him. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think that has part of it to do with you playing different roles, too. You know, you have to get rid of that stuff out of your mind to learn the new stuff.
Now, that's very true because I learned to script a night, and yes, we had to. I can push things out of my mind very well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right.
Well, how did you handle learning how to do scripts, especially on the soap? You know, many pages.
Yeah, well, the best place to do it, I've learned, is in the bathtub. Because nobody can get to you. You know, nobody needs anything from you. I'm in the bathtub. The dog.
True.
No, nothing. So I did that. But what I learned to do is just very logical. I would read through the scene, and I would get the gist of how it went, and then I would read through it again, and that read would tell me the thought patterns that went. How does this follow this? This follows this. This follows this. So if it's a logical script and the thought processes are coherent and it all hangs together, that's a very easy script to learn. It's when you have non sequiturs, when things happen that don't necessarily follow the thought pattern, and then you have to hang it on the blocking. If I walk up, and very quickly in soaps you forget to, you just stop saying, what's my motivation? You know, what's my motivation to move over here? I always thought that theater actors, you know, were God, what a luxury to have all that time to figure out how you wanted to play a scene instead of just being forced into playing something before you even quite know what it means, you know. And like in this Heart of Dixie, when you're doing something like Southern, especially that kind of Southern, when it's being written by a Southern woman who understands the rhythm of Southern speech, for me, it's easier to. Sometimes it can seem like a mouthful, but for me, it's easier to say the things out loud until I can establish the rhythm of what is being said. And if I can get that, if I can nail the rhythm, I can rattle it off. But until I do that, I'm stuck for a joke sometimes. It's sometimes hard.
Well, when I think of Southern and the things that I've watched, Dixie Carter always comes to my mind.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You know, and Designing Women was one of the greatest shows on TV.
Wasn't that wonderful? That was a good show. And see, they didn't know they were making an iconic show. You don't know you're making an icon until the paint is dry. Until the paint is dry. Yeah.
And then the shows that you think are going to do well, they pull them after 5 episodes. Well, recently, I should say after 1 or 2 episodes, that just astounds me. How do you know it's going to be good if I've only seen 1 episode?
Well, they don't give it.
They pull it.
Yeah, and they have so many of these derivative shows. You know, that this show is like the other one, like the sequel of the other one, blah blah blah. They don't give a show a chance anymore to mature. You know, they don't.
Sometimes
for the paint to dry.
Yeah, because there was a couple of shows over the fall that I got into watching, and I only got to see, I think, 2 or 3 episodes. And then I go to turn it on the following week, and it's not on. I'm like, what's going on? So I get on Twitter, and then I see these, you know, the newspaper, the electronic newspapers or whatever that I follow, you know, putting them out and saying, well, such and such show was canceled. I'm like, how? What? You know?
Oh, what a shame.
I know.
And that makes me insane.
I'd like to know where they get the numbers.
Beg your pardon?
I'd like to know how they get the numbers so quickly before they even go out.
Well, it beats me. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know how they do that. I think it's premature in a lot of times.
I think so too. And I also love the fact that nowadays if we as fans really, really love something, we can fight for it and get things back on TV, which would be All My Children, One Life to Live. They're not on TV, they're online, but they're back. And then also Drop Dead Diva. They canceled that, and oh my gosh, the uproar. And now it's back again.
Well, I wish they would have done that with Search for Tomorrow.
Amen.
Oh, boy, I loved playing that one.
Now, that one I didn't see, but David watched that one. So you were a not nice girl in that one?
Yeah, I was a high-tone bitch in that, yes.
No.
I was the lady you loved to hate, as my mother said. Be nice, be nice, be nice.
Loved every minute of her.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, she did all the wrong things, but for the right reasons. Yeah.
I started, I think I came in, it was 1978. I think I was I started watching. 78, 79.
You'll have to tell me what was going on because I'm lousy at numbers like that.
You are?
Yeah, I cannot remember, I can tell you what the air smelled like the day I buried my father, but I cannot tell you what year it was.
Okay. Well, I know you had a history with Mary Stewart's character.
Oh, yeah. I was hired to be her nemesis, And I said, oh, my gosh, what's she like? Because some people can get their feathers ruffled. And they said, well, she's kind of prickly, so I have to do something to make her laugh. And so New York was really cold, and I came from California in the middle of winter. And I wore, because my feet were always freezing in this soundstage, I wore these big fluffy slippers all the time because I was freezing to death. And I went by Mary Stewart's dressing room one time, and she looked at me and she said, oh, this is our sex symbol. And I turned, and I thought, oh, good, she's not going to yell at me. That's fine. Yeah. This is our sex symbol.
Oh, my gosh, that's so funny.
It is, isn't it? I was afraid I wouldn't have anything to say. And look, we've been talking a long time.
I know. Look. She goes, and Mary went back and forth.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry I missed that. And thankfully we have YouTube, so maybe I can catch some episodes. David's good at finding things that I want to watch.
Oh, yeah.
You have to watch this, Pam.
Oh, and I wanted to say thank you to all of the General Hospital fans who came recently for the past cast. I thought, well, past cast, who's going to care about that? And I went, and oh, my goodness, there were so many people there, and I took a picture of them all going, yay, when a character came out. And I posted it on Facebook because I was just astounded. Everybody was so wonderful.
Oh, and David was there, the lucky dog. He got to meet you.
Really?
I was there. I was there. I got to meet you.
Oh, how wonderful. I wish I knew what you looked like. I'd say hello. I must have met 300 people that day.
You probably...
It was a lot.
But I was the one who told you how much I miss Stephanie Wyatt.
Oh, did I hug your neck?
Yeah.
Almost.
Well, consider a virtual hug.
Yeah.
I miss her every day.
Oh, thank you. Well, she was a hoot to play, I'll tell you.
Yes, she was. She was a lot of fun.
She was, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and he came back and he was telling stories about being there and who he saw, and he says, we have to get Marie on our show.
Well,
she's in a new show. She's in Sam and Cat, and that was it. We were both off and running looking at Sam and Cat and finding out what's going on, and now here you are.
That's very, very kind of you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you're doing such a wonderful service. If you didn't do this, people wouldn't get to really hear, the ins and outs and the nuts and bolts of people. And you're doing a wonderful service. And thank you very much.
Thank you. I mean, without you saying yes, we wouldn't have a show to do, and David would just be talking to each other,
No,
which we've done before.